Smash leaks. Some are real, some are fake. Some are good, some are bad. Worse. But until that final character is revealed for Smash, until Sakurai says there are no more characters we are done developing for the game, leaks are just going to be a constant. Whether real or fake, it's just always going to happen. And so today, we're going to take a look at a potential leak that was posted to, you guessed it, the one and only 4chan. Okay, so now that you've already got your comment posted, yeah, this is fake. And it's not just because, oh, that doesn't seem real, it's because I literally made it. That's how I know it's fake. So this was kind of a little experiment that I wanted to throw together for a couple of reasons. The first main reason is that I kind of just wanted to learn the ropes of Smash Ultimate modding. But second, I wanted to see if I could make a mod that looked polished enough that if it was presented as a quote leak, people would at least talk about it. People saying that it's fake on 4chan is a bigger deal and is more noticed than it just being straight up ignored. So that's what I set out to do. But the journey didn't start with this Master Chief mod. It started with Jonesy. I have been a big supporter for Jonesy getting a Mii Fighter costume in Smash. If you followed my channel for a decent amount of time, you'll know that. So my thinking was, what better fake leak to make than something that I would already want in Smash, sort of forcing myself to ensure it looks its best because it's something that I want. But that plan did not go well in the slightest. Basically, my idea was to plop the models from Fortnite onto a Mii Fighter, see how that looked when I sort of conformed it to the proportions, and go from there. So I started off making a Mii that resembled Jonesy in order to add a layer of legitimacy to the eventual leak, and then I started to work on the actual costume. Now the execution was not the best, but it was a really good foundation for the learning experience and what it takes to make a mod for Ultimate. Surprisingly to me, the skin functioned in the game pretty much right away. It looked bad, and sometimes Jonesy would just straight up leave his body parts behind, but the game didn't crash, which is something I was fully expecting from the very first attempt. So things started off well, but then the struggle to make it look good began, and honestly, for Jonesy, it just never got better. The Smash Ultimate engine has a new way of making models look better, which uses an image file that wasn't used in any Smash games before. Essentially, the game looks for different layers of red, blue, and green colors in a single image file in order to make a model look a particular way. This handles everything from a model looking like skin, to metal, or something squishy, or looking like clothing. And I had no idea what I was doing. And despite getting help from people who knew far more than me, I still ended up with something that just looked really scuffed. So the arms look shiny, the textures look rough, and the body definitely looks like I just squashed it down to fit the size of a Mii, and that's because I totally did. I tried to make it look as good as I personally could, a few tweaks to the model here and there, and for what it's worth, I do think that this is a really good first attempt. The trouble mostly just came from the lack of knowledge that I had about this new game. Oh, and it also turns out that I basically had exactly one setting wrong on my Photoshop that made everything look like absolute dog turd. On top of that, I tried to make it seem more legitimate by throwing in a Durr Burger head as kind of a bonus costume, but of course all of the issues with Jonesy applied to the Durr Burger head as well. But at this point, it was looking the best that I could make it, so I posted it to 4chan. And it got like -2 replies, and really only one was constructive. This dude nailed pretty much everything that I did or screwed up. And he did it without calling me a slur, which is actually really surprising considering this is 4chan. Oh yeah, I actually did leave the mouse cursor in there, that's pretty funny. So after the horrible flop at a fake Smash leak, I started to think about what I wanted to actually mod into the game, just as a mod. I wanted it to be less about adding a Nintendo rep or fixing colors I didn't like, or, replacing a character with Ninja.
Fuck you say to me!
I just wanted it to be something that would feel almost official in a Smash game, outside of the fact that it is not official in the game. And working with this Jonesy Mii really got me attached to the idea of these deluxe Mii Fighters. Sans, Cuphead, Bomberman, these costumes that basically make you the entire character really kind of resonate with me. It's like the best middle ground option for me in my opinion. The character itself isn't a full-on fighter, it's still the Mii moveset, but you can basically suspend your disbelief enough that you don't have a Mii there, it looks like Sans, it looks like Cuphead, so it feels like they're almost in the game properly. So then it became a matter of who to make the costume for. And ultimately, I decided on Master Chief, because it seemed like he was going to be added as a costume along with Steve, and it was a real surprise when he wasn't. Now, I'm by no means skilled enough to model out Master Chief on my own. I just don't have that kind of a skill set. So I'd have to look at all of the different Master Chief models that exist and see which one fits Smash the best. And ironically, the one that fits Smash best, again, comes from Fortnite. They'd recently revealed Chief as a skin for the latest season, so it was easiest to just grab a rip off of the internet and start working. Again, I scaled down the body and helmet to be about the size of a Mii, but I was a bit more careful. One, because I actually took what that guy on 4chan said to heart, and two, I wanted people to actually like this mod and want to download it, and so I wanted it to look its best. So I did my best to avoid that goat-leggedness that Jonesy had, and I paid better attention to how the body parts actually moved. My rough comparison to use for this costume was the Samus Mii costume with the full helmet and armor. Samus is a comparable height to Chief as far as proportions go, and the way that her body moves kind of works similarly to the way Chief's moves, so if the official Samus costume can look a little bit scuffed, I think that an official Chief one would likely look similar. And I think I did an alright job, but this whole time I was working only with the green armor. During some of my research for modding, I realized that all Mii costumes technically have the ability to have different colors. It's just that for every costume that doesn't have a color option, they literally just duplicate the costume 12 times so that it doesn't appear to change colors if you are changing the Mii's color. So I figured that custom colors are a big thing in Halo multiplayer, why not bring that to the Smash Mii costume? And so I did. I mean, it's not exactly as detailed as you can get in Halo because Smash has made it a bit more limited, but if you wanted to make a red versus blue machinima in Smash, you'd be able to get away with it. During the process, I shared some of the screenshots and videos with my friends just to show them what's possible, and one of them brought up the idea of posting it to 4chan with phone footage just to see what happens. Which is really funny because I hadn't even told anybody about the Jonesy failure. I wanted to keep that under wraps. So I figured I'm being told this advice, what's the harm in trying one more time? Since this one was definitely more polished than the last one, it would at least have that going for it. And the only full costume in the official game able to completely change colors for both the headwear and the outfit has been Bomberman. So I thought that having this addition for the Chief leak would give it a little bit more credibility, or at the very least be something new to talk about. And this one got far more attention, and while many still mentioned that it was fake, or told me to release the mod and don't be a pussy, a few people actually entertained the idea that it could be real, and were like super sad that Chief wasn't going to be a full-on fighter. I probably blew my cover a little bit by pretending I was a super insider at Nintendo, but I didn't really expect anyone to buy it, so I figured that I had nothing to lose on that end. But it was really interesting reading through this thread, looking at the replies. It ended up being a Smash character debate, which these things always end up being, but it was still cool that it was under the umbrella of this leak that I made. One guy even mentioned the Jonesy leak specifically, not of course knowing that I actually made both of these, but I just thought it was neat that the other thing that I made got brought up in this thread. A couple days later, I posted the video that I posted to 4chan onto my Twitter, pretending that someone on Discord sent it to me. Now, I've got a bit more reach on my Twitter than I do on some random 4chan post, so I just wanted to see what the general reaction was there. And the responses there were overwhelmingly saying that this is just a mod, so good on you guys for staying skeptical and not just straight up believing anything. Of course, a few people did believe it, but the majority did not. A few of the bigger Smash modders took notice of it as well, and they were able to pick it apart even more. For example, the hand isn't rigged, so it just sort of stands there completely lifeless. And I'm not gonna lie, I totally meant to go back to that before I posted, but I honestly just straight up forgot. Some people even called out that this was literally the Fortnite model, which I'm impressed by because it shows a level of detail more than what I expected. But the cherry on top was of course getting featured on the big leak YouTube channels and on some of the websites that report on these supposed Smash leaks. Now, obviously, pretty much all of them in this day and age are coming from the angle of this is a mod, this is not real, but I think it's still neat that something I did ended up being talked about by these bigger channels that people sort of always go to, or these websites that always, report on this kind of stuff. I think it's really neat that I did that. And despite most everyone saying that this is a mod, a ton of people actually said that it looked really good and that it was really well made. And honestly, that makes me feel really good because it basically satisfied what I wanted to do when I first set out to make this mod. I wanted to make something that was so well made that it would not feel out of place in an official title. And that is how I made a fake Smash leak. In this day and age, it's really easy to mod Smash, so any leak that pops up should immediately be assumed to be a mod or a fake. Especially since Nintendo has cracked down so hard on keeping information from leaking out. This was honestly a crazy experience. Whenever I would see it brought up in a Discord or on a different website, I would think, it's weird, I just made that for fun. And then I decided to post it, and now people are talking about it. Even if they aren't talking about it in a way that says this is real, it's crazy that they're just talking about it at all. So with that, I want to thank all of you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.